HMI doors, and this is Mike, and today we're going to show you an installation of an HMI new construction entry door. First we're going to start with the existing entry door, and we're going to remove the interior casing. After removing the interior casing, what we want to do is take the measurement of the opening, the rough opening size. Measure the existing rough opening, 38 by 82. Okay? And we have a label on the front of the door. Please inspect the enclosed product before installation. Before removing all door, check for the following. Measure both existing and new doors. Check cane side swing, inspect the door thoroughly. If any factory defect is detected, the product must be returned in the box to process claim. Let's carry the door over to the horses. Watch that your blade is not extended too far so you don't damage the door. This would be your interior casing. Mike, if you can put this over there, please. Your brick molding, your quarter round molding, your sill extension, and of course we have the door here. So we will measure the door. Will fit. Perfect. Perfect. At this point, we can proceed with removal of the existing door. We can now proceed to remove any existing screws or nails that are in the opening. Okay, now that our screws are removed, we can proceed to remove the entry door. Okay, we are going to remove the door now. Okay, and set aside. We have removed our entry door. We are going to check and make sure that our levels are pretty plumb. Threshold being our most important here because that's where the door is going to sit, so that looks pretty good. That looks level there. We're going to check our walls next to see what our walls are doing so we can shim properly. Okay, this way looks nice. Good. This is a sill tape that we recommend to put on the bottom of HMI doors. It's actually a nice barrier to keep the draft from conducting over to the sill. We're going to install the sill tape evenly from the inside. About 6 inches up from the bottom. After installing the seal tape, we are ready to install our entry door. going to open the door and remove the existing top screw. When you install your shims on a new construction door, make sure from each side you shim this direction. Now we can proceed by shimming our top hinge. Okay, now we're going to check our level. Perfect. We can shim the center hinge now. Okay, we are going to shim the lock side now. Since this is an Arbor Max frame, we do have a nice replacement frame mounted on there. We do have screws here. These are the shipping screws. We will be removing that and putting our installation screws in. Our gap is nice. We can proceed now and cut our shims. Now that we have cut our shims, we are going to remove this piece of wood at the top. And we will cut the shims from this side. Now we will remove the plastic from the door. Now we will cut our brick molding and nail them on. We have a 3/8 reveal that will go all around the door. That is so in the future, if you decide to put a storm door or a security door, we need that reveal. So we will measure from the bottom to 3/8 to the header. $80 3/4. Now that we have installed our interior casing, exterior brick molding, and adjusted our threshold, we can go ahead and put on our 1-inch sill extension. Before we put our sill extension on, you want to do a bead of caulking right inside this track. To make a watertight seal. Put it on a 45-degree angle and snap it in. Then take your razor knife and trim the excess material you have left over here from the sill. Now that you cut the excess sill tape, you can go ahead and put a bead of caulking right across the bottom here. Now that you are done siliconing the front underneath the extension, you want to make sure you put a silicone bead right across these joints to keep water from going under. Now that we are ready to put our interior casing on, I have these black gloves. You'll need to wear these if you are sensitive skin to insulation. We are going to put some insulation in here before we put our interior casing. You can use a flat spatula. And just push the insulation into the opening. Okay, and now we are going to put the interior casing on. And now, after nailing the interior casing on, we can actually finish up by using white wood putty to cover our holes, fill our holes. And now we are going to install our jam capping. We're going to start with the header first, and we're going to silicone that with clear silicone. Do an S type of pattern inside the capping. We can install this up into place. And push it up to firm. The same goes to our sides. Okay, now we're going to install our brick molding. And you also want to caulk your brick molding on the outside all the way around to make sure you have a nice watertight seal. Okay, now when installing the brick molding capping, there are various ways that installers, cut the capping. Okay, we're going to put our first brick molding in place. We are going to mark where our cuts are going to be. And where the top is going to be. Okay, the traditional way is to put the two 45-degree miters together. However, the best way to actually cut your capping is to cut it a little bit longer as a square, put it on your molding, bend the top piece over so that when you put your head cap, it creates more of a watertight seal. Okay, and this part you're going to bend down. Okay, you want to silicone the inside in an S pattern. Now, when you put your capping on, you silicone your head capping and you put it on, you will not have any water that might leak into the brick mold cavity. We're installing the screws that are in the screw pack, which are longer, not the screws that come with the lock, which are shorter. Our entry doors are double-sided steel. Therefore, we have a plastic thermal break in between, and we need to use the longer screws. Okay, now we're going to start with the hardware. Before we put our knob on, you want to make sure that your screwdriver has some sort of protection on there, like this PVC tubing that I have on my screwdriver, so you don't scratch the knob when you put your screws in. If you don't have something like this, you can take electrical tape and wrap it around your screwdriver. We don't want to use a drill, power gun, because it's just going to strip the screws later or even scratch your knob. So in our screw pack, we have these plastic rings. There's two of them, one for the outside, one for the inside. So they just slip over the knob, just like this. And we take our interior knob and put the second one right on top. And this is to prevent, just in case the knobs loosen up and they move around, that they don't scratch the door. Okay, now we're going to install the knob with the rings on there. And if you also notice on the side of the door, we have this yellow label. It says remove the shipping dowel pin after installation is complete. So when we package the door, we put a dowel pin at the bottom of the sweep to keep the door level. And you need to remove that once the hardware goes on, which is located right down here. Okay, now that you have your riser bar adjusted, you want to open the door back up, remove the riser bar, drill 3 holes, one in this corner about 3 inches, one from this corner out about 3 inches, and one in the center. And using a 2.5 inch black wood screw, you want to tighten the threshold down so that there's no movement when the customer steps on the threshold. Then you want to reinsert your riser bar and put your screws back in. And we also supply these daylight pads in our screw packs, which are just to reinforce the bottom of the door against rain. These are the daylight pads. They're self-sticking. Remove the backing. And it gets tucked right behind the weather stripping. And now that would complete the installation of your new HMI entry new construction door. Thank you for watching.